we are going to be mostly just entering data in on this assignment and then working with that data set for the next several assignments. And basically what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be comparing data from record sales from Metallica versus Taylor Swift. And to get that information, we're going to have to go to websites, get that information, and then we're just going to manually type that information into the spreadsheet that I've shared with you on this assignment. So the spreadsheet has a number of titles already in there. It's sales by region, and then it's the artist, which is going to be one of two, either Metallica or Taylor Swift. And then it's the album, the year, and then the sales by region, US, Canada, Latin America, Asia, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, rest of world, which is the ROW, and then the totals, which we're going to be doing some equations for to add those up. And then once we get that data set created, then we're going to be using that for the next several assignments to do some of the more advanced equations. So first, to get these, to get the data to put in here. So you'll notice on the assignment, there's links to a website for Taylor Swift album sales and for Metallica's album sales. So we'll click on Taylor Swift first. And the website takes you to a site that has a bunch of information, but it's, if you scroll down, the information that we're looking for is down here, about halfway down the page, under Taylor Swift album sales. So they're listed by year. So you're going to enter in the name, the album, the year, and then the information that's found here for the album sales itself. So if I flick back over into this, I could put in the artist, Taylor Swift. Shouldn't need to type that again. And then I'm going to go look at the album. So this album was called Taylor Swift, so it was a self-named one. So I can just copy that over to here because it was just the name of the album as well. And then the year was 2006, her first album. And then I go and get that information for sales. So it's 5.8 million in the United States. So I'll enter that in. I'm not going to show you all of this and keep you hostage for all that time, but I'm going to go in there and enter in that number, and that automatically formatted it this way, which is what I want it to do. If it doesn't do that, then you may need to go and format this using the numbers like that, and then just knock the zeros back so that there's no zeros in there at all, because we don't need to see those. All right, so I'm going to enter in all the stuff for Taylor Swift, and then I'm going to go and get all of the information for Metallica as well, which is on the same website, but under Metallica's ones. And again, you scroll down the page, and you're going to get the information for Metallica, and then you are going to enter in the same thing, name of the album, the year, and then how many records they sold by region based on the regions that I've asked for. Okay, so we'll get all that information in, and then I'll get right back to you. So I got all that data entered, at least almost all that data entered in now from the website. And I didn't copy and paste it because generally when you copy and paste stuff, you might pick up some things that you don't want. So I just went through and entered all the data in. Now you notice I didn't enter in the name of the artist each time. And it's because I can quickly copy that rather than retype it. I'm just going to show you how to do a quick copy for those of you who did not do the spreadsheets for Business Deck 11. And so if you want a quick copy, either a cell or an equation that's in a cell, if you click on the cell, you'll see it'll be highlighted in a blue box, and then there'll be a little blue square at the bottom, and that's the quick copy button. And so all I'm going to do is just click on that and drag down for all the Taylor Swift albums. Same thing for Metallica. I'm just going to click and drag that down. Just saves me having to type them over and over again when I don't have to. And then the next thing I'm going to do is for this total column, I actually want you to do this. I know it lists the total under the album sales, but we're going to do this as an equation because their totals are approximates. And so the equation itself is going to be an equation called equals, which if you didn't already know that, I guess we should start there. Whenever you create an equation in spreadsheets, it always starts with the equal sign. Otherwise, you're just typing in numbers. But if you put in an equals, it recognizes that you're trying to do an equation, and it'll work like a calculator. And so we're going to be doing an equation that's going to add up all the totals for each of those albums. So we're going to use an equation called sum, which is going to add up all those totals. So I'm going to type in equals sum, and then that'll start to auto-populate the names of the different equations that are available in spreadsheets. So I click on sum, that'll add the bracket in. I click on the first cell that I want it to add up, and then I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click on the last cell that I wanted to add up, which is all of them for just this Taylor Swift's first album. And then you'll see they'll all be selected. And then when I press enter, then it does that equation for me. And look, it's being very helpful here, wanting to autofill everything for me. This may or may not show up for you, but I'm going to do that separately. So this added it up. I think on the website it said 6.6 million was their total sales, according to the math that's here, which is still an approximation, but it's showing 6.602. So this might be a little more accurate than what they're showing on the website. And now, again, I'm going to use that quick copy. So I click on that cell, I copy that down. And one of the nice things about Sheets is that it knows that you're doing an equation, and it knows that you're going to do it not on the data in that first cell, but on the corresponding cells down. So it changes the equation to fit as we move down row by row, and it adjusts it to fit the equation for that row. So the numbers for each one, it changes it, and it knows that you're wanting to do each of these albums separately or each of these rows separately. So on the first one, the actual equation is equal sum bracket D3 colon K3 bracket, and D3 to K3 is the range of cells going across the row that I'm adding up. And so for the next one, it changes it to D4 and K4 and so on and so forth all the way down. All right, so now I've got that equation in there for my totals, and I can make these cells a little bit bigger if I need to, just by hovering over the top of the cell, the line between them. And any of the ones that are crowded, I can make them larger that way, like I did with the albums. And so now the last thing I'm going to be doing in this assignment is I'm going to be sorting it by artist and then by total. So I have their top selling albums listed in order. And so I'm going to select, hold down and select from artist all the way over to total and all the way down to the bottom. I don't want to pick up that top cell, and I'll show you why in a second, but I want to pick up everything below that I have information entered in for. And then I'm going to sort it. So I'm going to go to data, and I'm going to go to sort range, and I'm going to say my data has a header row. That means that the top row has the labels. If I had selected that top row here with sales by region, then that would have been the only thing that would have showed up here, and I would have had to figure out which ones I was trying to sort. But since I selected it the way that I showed you to, I can now sort it by artist, A to Z, and then I'm going to put in sort by another column, and I'm going to put in the total sales, and then I'm going to switch this Z to A, and that should go from largest to smallest rather than smallest to largest. And then I click sort, and so then I can see it sorted now with it switched them because alphabetically Metallica was higher up. So it switched them now with Metallica at the top, Taylor at the bottom, and then Metallica's largest one first, and then Taylor's largest one first here. Scrolling down, your data should look just like this before you hand it in to me. But if you're at this point, then you are finished the assignment, and you can hand that in.